A pleasant day to all. I have the privilege of presenting the research entitled Teachers' Organizational Commitment, Citizenship Behavior, Engagement, and Burnout in the Next Normal, a Structural Equation Modeling. I am Jason Estigamon, candidate for the degree Doctor of Education at Liceo de Cagayan University, Northern Mindanao, Philippines. With me in this research project is my research professor and advisor, Dr. Ninita I. Prado. As a short overview of the conception of this study, I actually started with the idea that teaching has long been seen as one of the most gratifying and promising professions of all. Thus, I became just like most of you, teachers by profession and by heart. A career in education is fulfilling, but there are numerous drawbacks and issues that are related to this field. The problem of teacher burnout is one of the most obvious. In fact, O'Brien in 2020 declared that burnout among teachers is essentially a global issue. As a teacher myself, I have stories of my fair share of burnout in the profession, all of which were exacerbated by the trying effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was triggered by the thought of looking into the condition of teachers during the transition period from distance learning to in-person classes that started last year. And I was thinking, if teachers had experienced a burnout during the pandemic, how about during the next more normal in the context of education delivery in the schools? The unexpected COVID-19 interruptions to K-12 education drives the thrust of this study in understanding educators' perceptions of the pandemic and inherent stressors. The Department of Education in the Philippines issued DepEd Order number 034, series of 2022, highlighting the department's desire to return to 5-day in-person classes by November 2022, while keeping the learners' and teachers' safety and well-being in mind. However, several teachers' groups raised concerns about DepEd's judgment to resume full-time in-person classes. The objections from these teachers' groups are attributed to the fear that without adequate preparations, teachers will face another surge of burnout in their work. Hence, this study determined the level of teacher work burnout during the resumption of full in-person classes after the height of the pandemic, while considering some organizational factors. This study has three independent variables, namely commitment, organizational citizenship behavior, and work engagement. The study also has one dependent or endogenous variable, the teacher's work burnout. Each of them and their connections were discussed in light of pertinent theories and literature. In addition to measuring individual construct, this study proposed different hypothesized models, and these were checked and tested to determine whether the models were fit to the observed data. We have the hypothesized models, and one model is the best fit model. The respondents of this study were the 326 secondary school teachers in Hingoog City, chosen through stratified random sampling. The research utilized a predictive correlational research design. Modified questionnaires were used, validated by experts, and underwent internal consistency tests to determine and ensure reliability. Descriptive statistics, correlation analysis, multiple linear regression, and structural equation modeling were used to organize the data in the study. Here are the results, conclusions, and recommendations of this research. The first problem of the study investigated the teacher's organizational commitment. The findings are summarized in the third column. It was concluded that teachers have high levels of organizational commitment or have great resolve to stay in the schools. In terms of normative or sense of obligation to stay, rated as high, affection or affective or affection for the job, rated as high as well, and continuance or fear of loss, rated as high. The overall findings shed new light on how attached teachers are to their jobs, especially in light of the difficulties that the COVID-19 pandemic and the switch from online learning to in-person sessions, which began last year, caused to the educational system. The second statement of the problem explored the teacher's level of organizational citizenship behavior to investigate whether they possess and manifest behaviors on altruism, sportsmanship, conscientiousness, courtesy, and civic virtue. The findings are summarized in the third column. It was concluded that teachers perform tasks that are not officially assigned to them but contribute to the efficient operation of their schools. In terms of altruism, sportsmanship, courtesy, conscientiousness, and civic virtue. The results imply that teachers perform tasks that are not officially assigned to them. The strong OCB results suggest that they contribute to the performance of the schools in ways other than their official job duties. The next problem is to measure work engagement of teachers. Overall, the level of work engagement demonstrated by the secondary education teachers has the overall mean of 4.00 and is interpreted as high with a standard deviation of 0.468, clearly providing an indication that the individual responses of the teachers are not polarized to this variable with its three indicators. The other findings are summarized in the third column. Hence, it was concluded that teachers are highly engaged in their work, thus have a strong sense of purpose and meaning in their work to provide quality education to the learners, which is their fundamental work. Fourth problem, assessed the level of work burnout among teachers during the next normal. The findings are summarized in the third column. It was concluded that the school teachers experience moderate levels of work burnout with higher levels of emotional exhaustion and moderate levels of inadequacy, but lower levels of cynicism. During the next normal, the teachers are emotionally exhausted, which clearly indicates burnout. Teachers having a moderate level of inadequacy means they have moderate negative emotions, being unhappy and unsatisfied with their work. The lower levels of cynicism a means a positive indication that teachers still possess an optimistic view about their work and the teaching profession in general. This study also investigated the correlations between work burnout and the independent variables, organizational commitment, citizenship behavior, and work engagement. It was found that five constructs and subconstructs of the independent variables have a significant relationship with teacher burnout. They are affective commitment, continuance commitment, organizational citizenship behavior, sportsmanship, and dedication. The conclusion is that affective commitment, sportsmanship, and dedication had a significant inverse relationship with teacher burnout, while continuance commitment and organizational citizenship behavior had a positive correlation with teacher burnout. This relationship was statistically validated with the use of Pearson product moment correlation analyses. The next problem was to determine which of the variables, singly or in combination, best predict work burnout of teachers. Accounting for negative 41.3% impact is more sportsmanship, which surfaced as the best factor to negatively impact teachers' work burnout. Not far too behind are effective and continuous commitment influencing teachers' work burnout. The conclusion is that the null hypothesis, none of the variables, singly or in combination, best predict work burnout of teachers, is rejected. The last problem was to identify the best model fit to explain work burnout among teachers. There are five models, only one emerged to be the best fitted model, and that is model number five. Hence, the conclusion is fifth structural model met the criteria for acceptable standard indices, measurements, and model that best matches the teacher's work burnout. As a result, the null hypothesis 3 is rejected. There is no structural model that best fits work burnout of teachers. This is the best model fit model 5 to explain teachers' burnout. The model presents three latent variables, namely organizational citizenship behavior, engagement, and teacher work burnout. From these latent variables, organizational citizenship behavior, engagement were presumed to predict work burnout. The slide shown presents a standard regression analysis of weights and beta coefficients. As presented in the slide, work engagement has a negative, significant direct effect on teacher work burnout, but organizational citizenship behavior positively affects work burnout of teachers. The results imply that when teachers are engaged in their work, their burnout decreases, and when they exercise and manifest increased organizational citizenship behavior, their burnout level tends to increase. The slide presents the acceptability of the model. Considering the fit indices, Model 5 is the best model fit for teachers' burnout since it successfully satisfies the required 7 criteria for the best fit model. The study concluded that among the many factors that impact teacher work burnout, engagement and organizational citizenship behavior emerge as the most vital factors that explain teacher burnout. Thus, it was concluded that teachers need to be supported holistically, particularly emotionally and psychologically, to ensure that they become engaged and moderate their engagement in activities that are not formally part of their job descriptions, as these can be considered opportunities to eliminate or at the very least reduce work burnout among teachers. The following recommendations are suggested considering the findings and conclusions. The Department of Education in the Philippines is recommended to conduct more psycho-emotional support intervention programs for teachers. It may provide resources and assistance for teachers needed to address work burnout, such as but not limited to counseling sessions and stress management programs and activities to be conducted regularly and with consistency. To the school principals, they may foster a supportive and inclusive work environment where teachers feel valued and appreciated. More concretely, they can provide opportunities for teachers to engage in activities outside of work to increase their overall well-being. For the teachers, one of the ways to lessen work burnout is seeking support from colleagues or from school principals when feeling overwhelmed or stressed at work. Being open about their worries and stresses at work is the first step to help address teacher work burnout. And finally, to the future research could explore the construct of work burnout using qualitative methodologies to give a more in-depth investigation of the condition of teachers in the field. The present study uses the power of statistics and investigates its great breadth, but the future investigation will enrich the rationalizations and discussions to include real scenario experiences of the teachers who encounter challenges in their